Connor, in the build-up to the last fight, you were unusually kind to Dustin. Now on fight week, it's the exact opposite. So when did that switch happen?
Because he got knocked the fuck out. Not McGregor fast, McGregor sleep.
So all week you were saying most pre-buys ever, most pre-buys ever. Do you have that number in front of you right now, or do you have an estimate of that number?
Yeah. I was all about that right before the ankle break. I didn't even. So I'm thinking that I know that the 8 o'clock we were over 1.2 million buys just in the U.S. So my assumption, I have to be careful with this stuff now because we're a public company and I can't go out shooting my mouth off and have it be, completely wrong. But I'm going to say that we came in anywhere between 1.7 million and 1.8 million.
That's fantastic, Dana. Obviously a huge week, a lot of obstacles in the way. What was the biggest challenge of setting up this fight week?
This was a typical fight week. The worst part of this week was tickets. Tickets is this job. I hate it. I've been doing it for 20 years. And when people ask me, when you retire, what will you be excited about? I'll be excited about not doing tickets anymore. That's about it. Every other aspect of this job I love. Or tickets suck. It's the worst part of this job. It's like a wedding every weekend. I'm doing a wedding and seating people, and nobody's happy with where they're sitting, and this guy's in front of me, and that guy's behind me, and you know how that goes. Especially when you get celebrities and all that shit. It just and fighters. You seat these guys. I could bitch all night to you about tickets.
Dana.
Last one for me. There was also a lot of confusion amongst fans about the booking of Cyril Gane versus Derek Lewis in Houston. Did the multi-event...
Who's confused?
Fans.
Oh.
Did the multi-event partnership that the UFC signed with the Toyota Center increase the urgency to have Derek Lewis booked for a title fight in Houston next month?
No. It was almost simultaneous when we did the deal. I'm friends. He's a Fertitta.
Okay, so no relation to that at all?
No, he's a Fertitta. He and I... Last time we got together, first of all, when the pandemic we were coming out of the end of the pandemic here, he hit me up and said, Texas needs you. We need you out here really badly. Can you come to Houston? I said, and then I think you guys remember this. I said, fuck, I'll go this weekend. It was like the Stipe fight, the Stipe DC fight. I was going to bring it there that weekend. Some shit went on internally. We couldn't get it done. We go out there. We kill it in Houston. And he's like, that night after the fight, I met with him, and he's like, I want you to come back more and more often, so let's talk about it. We started talking, and we were going to go back to Houston. But there's no... One thing that I never do is never put any pressure on ourselves that we have to go somewhere or whatever. We did the deal because we're friends and we like each other and we do really good business together. And I like Houston, too. So that's why.
All right. Thanks, Dana.
Yep.
First of all, congratulations on getting the win. In the post-fight press conference in the cage, you referenced you brought somebody out to the fight tonight. Can you elaborate on that? Tell us a story about that.
Yeah, we did a fundraiser back home right before I left to start training camp for a young man named Peyton Murphy. And we flew him and his mom and dad out here. He's battling a bone cancer, and the cancer had went into remission, and then it came back. So, he's a real fighter. Guys like that, that's who I want to lift up, and it's inspiring to me to see this guy, going about his everyday life, still, loving life and living life and never giving up hope, That's a real fighter. So, yeah, we flew his family out, and we did a fundraiser and raised some money for them back home in Louisiana.
That's good stuff. All week, you did a pretty good job of not getting into the trash talk too much. You kind of took the high road all week. But in the post-fight press conference, it seemed like he kind of dug into that a little bit. Did he say something to you afterwards in the cage that triggered that? And if so, what was it?
Yeah, he was saying, he was putting, dude, I hope they show the behind-the-scenes stuff, man. He was, like, still sitting on the ground, still saying, I'm going to kill you. He was putting his hand to his head like a gun. Like, bro, chill out. Chill out. he was saying that.
All right, thanks, Dustin. Just 11 months ago, in the room right next to us,
Yeah.
you had your last ever fight. Standing
Yes.
here now, does it feel like it's been that long?
Man, listen. 6 years ago, I won my first championship. Time flies so fast. I mean, this guy these two guys right here, Dave and Chris, we became best friends. Like every 3 months, we were on a media tour. I mean, I see these guys here now. When I do this, time goes so fast. And the moment I retired, my life got so busy outside of the octagon that I haven't really had a chance to sit back and think back on, oh, it's been a year already. Yeah, it sucks, coming back and not being able to accomplish what you wanted at the end. But it is what it is, and you just kind of move forward. That's what I've always done.
Yeah, and being here at the Apex all the time, and obviously with all your broadcasting duties you have, does it ever give you that itch to come back just a little bit?
To fight?
Yes.
No. Dude, it's hard. Fighting is hard. Like, it's really, really hard. I mean, to be able to compete is so special. I love to compete. It's what made me who I am, but I also understand if I can't put myself in the best position to win, I won't do it. You guys all know me. You've seen me do this thing. I mean, I had no time at the bottom. I was always at the top. Fought in 10 straight championship fights, right? Like, if I can't prepare myself, I won't do it. And I just don't feel like where I am today in terms of the injuries, the wear and tear of the title fights. People talk about 5-round camps versus 3-round camps. They're a real thing. And going through all those 5-round camps back to back and literally breaking myself down to the bare bones to make sure that when I was in there, I was ready. It's such a lasting toll, man. I get up in the morning. I literally stretch every morning for 30 minutes before I can even get up and leave. Because of 15 years old, I'm in my first world team and represented the United States of America. So for 27 years, I did sports at the highest level, so I'm good.
And last one from me. Before you came out, we talked to your friend Max Holloway and Dean Thomas, and they had some things to say about you, about the weigh-in show.
They're liars.
They say that you're a notorious cheater.
They scandalize my name is what they do.
Is it fair to call Daniel Cormier a cheater?
Yeah. There's a famous saying in regards to cheating while trying to win. I think you guys have all heard it before. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm trying to win. I roped Laura Sanko, 105-pound woman. She beat me in a spelling bee, which you would imagine I've lost every single one of them. So I told her if she could outrace me drinking a beer, then she's the champ and I would be the champ. She's like, okay, I'll give you a challenge because you test that ego of anybody, right? They get it. I crushed her. Now I got the belt going into the next weigh-in show. So sure. They also caught me with, we're trying to spell Jalgus, Jalagulis. And I may have been caught with the name sheet under my shoe, under the desk. I mean, I may have been caught with the name sheet under my shoe, but hey, it is what it is, man. I'm trying to get my hand raised.
We saw you yelling at the commentary in your last fight, saying that you were the best boxer in the UFC. What went through your mind at that moment to prompt you to do that?
I heard DC. I heard DC talking there. We didn't have too much fans. We had fans, but I heard DC talking to Dan Hardy. And they was saying something about count it up and blah, 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 or talking about boxing. So I was like, you know what, count it up. And then I slipped a bunch. I was just in my zone, and then had to let him know, Calvin was saying he was the best boxer in the UFC. We had to remind him. So.
Cool. Thanks.
Your rival Chito Vera recently put on an impressive performance against Davey Grant. You said that your main takeaway was that Chito seemed slow. What did Chito do in that fight that impressed you? And does that rematch interest you potentially next after this weekend since Chito is a ranked opponent?
Chito's tough. That's it. He's tough. He's slow. I think we all saw that. I was very high watching that. I'm like, is this slow motion or is he actually that slow? He's slow. He's just not, which is, he's tough. That's his best attribute is he's durable and he's tough. A rematch after this fight, no, I don't think he's quite deserved that yet. He beat Davey Grant. I didn't even know Davey Grant was a person. I'm about to beat Chris. No one knows he's a person either. So, but I have someone in mind I'm gonna call out after this fight. It's not Chito. I think that's a big, big fight down the line if he continues to win.
And you recently said that you don't necessarily mind fighting whoever the UFC chooses for you because, in your opinion, they're all easy. Out of the top 15 at bantamweight,
That's a
who
good
presents the toughest challenge for you and why?
I mean, realistically, everyone in the top 10 is a tough fight. Fighting is crazy. Going in there with anybody, I mean, even Chris, no one knows. I mean, it's still a fight. It's still going to be a tough fight. Yeah, I mean, realistically, the whole top 10 is tough fights. I just believe in my preparation and my skill set that I can take them all out.
And last one from me. You said recently that you're going to knock out Chris with something never done before. What should fans expect to see in this fight?
Yeah, that's the plan. Go out there and get another viral knockout. But like I said, when I close my eyes, I kind of try to picture what would be crazy, what would be insane, what's never been done before. Just to kind of plant the seed in my mind. Maybe if I see that opportunity in the octagon, the idea is hurt him. I want to hurt him to where he's, when I hurt Eddie, he was like just hardly there. When I hurt Alfred in the Contender Series, he was just hardly there. Those are the moments that I can pick and choose what kind of knockouts I want. I got to hurt him first, and then I get the spectacular knockout. So yeah, I plan on doing, going in there. Like I said, I'm ready for 15 minutes. If it's gonna be 15 minutes, we saw me against Thomas Almeida. I could have went 5-5. I'm ready for 15 minutes. I'd like to hurt him and do something that's never been seen before.
So back in April, you said that of all the fights that you wanted to see happen in 2021, Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev was at the top of that list. But today we found out that Khamzat will face Li Jing Leon in October. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's a good test at this point in time. The Leech has been a perennial welterweight contender type for the last couple years, and I think it's a good challenge for Khamzat Chimaev. My question for Khamzat is, how long can he sustain at welterweight? I think he's a middleweight in terms of a championship trajectory. I just think he's a big guy, and it's going to be hard for him to consistently make that weight. But I think this is what you want to see. When I was salivating at the possibility of Chimaev fighting Leon Edwards or Colby Covington, ultimately what we all want to see is him ascend and take on challenges that are legitimate. And I think this is a perfect matchup for this stage of his career.
In your opinion, what is Sean O'Malley's biggest weakness that you can expose?
Not so much just a weakness. He's very talented, explosive kid. But I just don't think somebody's been in there to push him that way. You know what I mean? The only time he ever was kind of pushed was the Cheeto fight, and he got hurt, so he pulled it. He has a little fallback to why he was gonna win that fight, but he got hurt. So I think I'm just gonna stay in his face, man, and put the pressure. And I think that's something that he's not comfortable with.
And the UFC signed you specifically for this fight. I'm just curious, did you sign a one-fight deal, or should we expect to see you back in the octagon after Saturday night?
I don't want to get into I think it was a couple fight deal, so I should be back. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Chris. I was just wondering, did you watch Kamaru Usman's last fight, and if so, what did you think of that performance?
It was good, man. He's been working on his striking. It looks great, but I'm still coming for you. It doesn't matter. I hope he's there when I get there.
And you mentioned you've kind of reinvented yourself as a result of not having marijuana in your system anymore, and you also mentioned that you now have your eyes on the title. What's next for you after this fight, assuming you win on Saturday?
Whatever the UFC gives me. I'm a businessman, man. I'm here to fight and provide for my kids. And whatever it takes to get the money for my kids, I'll do it.